London and Paris, 2012. 6 days and 7 minutes. My friends and I arrived in London and immediately decided to go to the London Eye, because, what better way to see a city than get your bearings from up high? As we went around and headed back down, we decided that it would be a great idea to also see the city from the river. We passed by many of the famous London landmarks and underneath many of the famous London bridges, on our way to our final destination, which was Greenwich. On our way to Greenwich, we passed the Traitor's Gate and under the Tower Bridge, which had its Olympic rings ready to come down. When we got to Greenwich, after walking the long way up the hill, because the area was closed due to the equestrian grounds, we discovered that the queue to see the Prime Meridian was 45 minutes long, and it closed in 30 minutes. So off to the pub instead. Day 2 took us to my favorite part of London, the Tower of London. We took in a tour from the Yeoman of the Guard and explored around ourselves, seeing the crown jewels, as well as this book of the history of the world. Outside, this London mascot was painted like a Yeoman of the Guard, and we saw the Paralympic rings. Upstairs in the Tower Bridge, we got a lot of great views of London, including this one through the leaded glass. Along the South Bank, many of the Olympic mascots could be seen painted in a variety of different designs, including this really cool one to look like a double-decker bus at Piccadilly Circus. After taking in Les Miserables and touring through Chinatown, we ended our day by Trafalgar Square at the Canadian Embassy. Day 3 was the day I was most looking forward to. Back to the tower because we heard the drawbridge would be lifted, and we got to see the ceremony where they unlocked the gates in the morning. I took my friends to Buckingham Palace so they could see the changing of the guard, and abandoned them while I headed to St. Paul's Cathedral to kill some time before the big event. I made it to Furley late in the afternoon, and was graciously fed a wonderful supper by the Burns family. Ermagerd! It was such a great opportunity to meet in person some people I had only ever seen through Google Chat, and to rekindle some old friendships. There were lots of cameras abounding, and lots of music to be heard, and, well, it wouldn't be a night without a dramatic reading from Clive. Day 4. I woke up to a beautiful sunny day in Devon. Sad to leave my friends, but traveling back through the homeland of my ancestors, admiring the lovely rolling countryside. I ended up the long way back to London. Yes, the long way indeed. But I returned to London and met my friends at Kensington Palace, where we took in the Diana exhibit, which included many dresses that she made famous during her lifetime. In the Victoria exhibit, there was this piece of paper signed by Victoria the day she took over the realm. I love the intricate detail that went into all of her clothing and her children's clothing, as well as the artwork, including these ceilings, which I couldn't believe someone would take that kind of time to do. I think I was born in the wrong era, because I would love to wear some of that clothing. Out of Kensington and past the Canadian geese and the swans, we made our way to the Princess Diana Memorial Walk and her fountain, where the cool water was a much-needed break on our ankles. Near Harrods, we stopped at a local pub for supper, and then headed to take in the sights of the riverbank at night. Of course, we had to get the requisite photos that everybody takes, where we stumbled across more of those little men. We caused a lot of people to laugh, as we talked about whether or not we should go home and go to bed, or go in hunt of more little men. We decided to walk along the riverbank and took these photos, and stopped ourselves before breaking into a local park. On day 5, we went back to that park we had considered breaking into, to get the photos of the little men that rested inside. Then we went to Westminster Abbey. If you've never been there, I highly recommend it. It's a very moving place to visit, and I would go again. Then we went to Earl's Court to see the TARDIS, and went back to Harrods to see the memorial to Dodi Al-Fayed and Princess Diana, and all of these ginormous 6-foot teddy bears. Off to Covent Garden, where we saw this little man again, and we left my friend Jolene to do some shopping. Sarah and I headed to the British Museum. I wish I had gone before, and I will definitely go again. There wasn't nearly enough time to see everything I wanted to see. The architecture in the building alone was enough to thrill me. Of course, we saw the Rosetta Stone, which was so much bigger than I expected it to be, as well as seeing this Easter Island statue and totem poles? Am I at home? Off to the mall so that we could see the Olympic Park, and all of these beautiful Lego statues. I can't imagine the amount of time and dedication that went into building them. There's the Olympic Stadium and whatever that was supposed to be. And then it was on to day 6. Day 6 was Paris, up bright and early, off to the train station at St. Pancras. There's the Seine and Notre Dame Cathedral. Not quite as impressive as Westminster Abbey inside, but still a beautiful example of Gothic architecture. We waited outside in line for a little bit more than an hour, while being stared at by these gargoyles, to head up, and I mean up, a lot of stairs. The view from above was breathtaking. I understand why so many people visit every year. We saw the bell and the gargoyles in a variety of different states, and admired the view in all directions of this beautiful city. Time to head back down the spiral staircase and to the Avenue Gustave Eiffel. No trip to Paris would be complete without riding up its elevator to get a great view. I was a little disappointed when I reached the middle part, we couldn't get to the top, that the view of Paris looked the same from here as it did from the top of Notre Dame. We took the requisite and required shots of me standing in front of the Eiffel Tower, as well as this group shot, before I picked a blade of grass, the only thing my niece Jenna wanted, before heading to l'Arc de Triomphe, to pause for a moment and remember those who died in World Wars I, II, and many others. Headed down to the Champs-Élysées to enjoy a glass of wine before heading home the next day. See you again soon, Furley, in 2013.